Yo guys, what's up? Hey, and welcome back to my channel. As I did before on my last video, I am starting to do a little bit more scripted things where I sit down and have some in-depth conversations. Obviously when I'm out and about and I'm traveling, less scripted. But I'm gonna try the scripted thing again. I got some positive feedback on it. So let's dive in. If you hear some things that do sound red, that's because they are. So, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, hey, my name is Chad, also known as Tutors Travels. And for those of you who've been following along, know that I've been through a pretty massive life change, you know, in the past year. I moved to the Philippines, and not just moved, but I've done newly single and completely on my own while losing everything, everything that I owned, right? And I'm calling it, you know, my ultimate hard reset. And let me tell you, it's exactly that. And it's a mix of high-speed dopamine and low-speed bureaucracy. But it's been an absolutely incredible experience so far. It's something that I definitely don't take back or that I regret. I've enjoyed every minute that I've been in the Philippines. Let me take that back. I've enjoyed most of my minutes in the Philippines. There are some things moving here from a westernized country that are gonna curl underneath your skin and not gonna make you have such a fantastic feeling, and I'll try to dive into some of that or talk about some of that here. But I also want to be as respectful as possible too, because I am new here. This is not my country, and this is how things are here. So let's dive in and let's talk about it, right? So if you're thinking about doing something similar, just curious about what it's like to pick your life up and start new in the Queen of the South or Cebu City, then stick around. I'm going to get into some things. I'm going to share everything that I've learned so far. Maybe not everything, but I'm going to share quite a bit of what I've learned so far. And some of the challenges and some of the things that are utterly surprising, right? Like, I could talk for days about things that surprise me here. And actually here, I'll tell you one thing that surprised me. The other day, Rocco and myself were sitting down at the mall. And there's like an outside foyer area. And we're just sitting there chit-chatting. We're talking to a guy that used to be the chief of a fire department in Cebu, and having a great conversation with him. And this young lady walks by, and she's wearing a t-shirt and a pair of high heels and a pair of white panties. No pants. You know that nightmare that you have, that you woke up and you got dressed and went to school and you forgot your pants? That's exactly what it felt like. I'm like, did this lady forget her pants? Did this lady get tossed out of a hotel? Did she get tossed out of her house? She wasn't frantic. She wasn't running around like she was embarrassed. She was just walking. And she did a couple laps. She went back and forth like this, and it blew her mind. I think I would have been less shocked if I would have seen a woman walking through that area completely naked than I would have seen that, because I had so many questions on, like, where's your pants? It was an experience. And it was utterly surprising, as my script had said. Okay, so let's dive straight into number one, and probably the most immediate change, what I'm calling the foreign glow up. This is a very real thing, especially on social and the dating front. Back home, you know, in the United States, you might feel like just another face walking around your account. You know, you're walking through the mall, no one's really paying attention to you. No one's looking at you. No one's really saying, oh, hey, or winking at you or flirting with you. But here, you're suddenly a person of high interest. Like, people definitely, like, women definitely want to capture your attention, and they want to talk to you, and they want to get to know you. The attention factor is real. I probably received more romantic interest in a week here than I did in the last year back home. That's 100% true. And yeah, it's a massive ego boost. There's a good possibility that I will have to cut this video. People are getting ready to go swimming. I am at the swimming pool area, so bear with me. If I have to cut this video and move downstairs and do it somewhere else, then that's what I'll do. But they might be walking away now. Let's see. Give me just 1 second. Okay, we're back. They decided not to swim for some reason. Maybe they're gonna go get their suits or something. I'm not sure. And yeah, it's a massive ego boost. Literally, no lie. It could almost be problematic, and we'll get into that. but it also requires a pretty thick layer of discernment, right? The dating culture here is fascinating. It's a fascinating mix of tradition and modern. Yes, Tinder and Bumble do exist here. It's used quite often. There's actually another app called Pinoy Love that's very popular also, that's used here. But yet there's still a strong value in courting. That's something that's very important to them. A date just isn't a date to these ladies. It means something. When you go on a date with a Filipina, especially if they're from the province and they're fresh to the city and you go on a date with them, to them you're together. I don't want to really say that you're together, but their mindset is like, okay, this is my guy. And they're fixated on loyalty, but they also expect the same in return. They immediately want you to delete your dating apps. They're not going to tell you that though, but they are immediately going to want you to delete your dating apps. And they're not going to want you to go on any other dates at that point, because they feel like now you took them to dinner, that it's time. I'm not going to sum all of these women up together into one, because it's not necessarily true. I have been on some dates where it was just a date and it felt more like a westernized date. But I also have been on a date, just one, where it felt like as soon as the date was over, that she thought that it was time to meet her family. That's something that you got to get used to out here. But like I said, I'm not going to bundle all Filipinas up together and say that that's all them, but be prepared for that to happen. Now for a word of caution, because this is a real thing, but it's called the king trap. It's really easy for foreigners to become a bit arrogant with all of the attention. And I promise you that is true. You get all this attention and you just feel like, okay, I'm the man. And it's addicting, but it also can grow and become more of an arrogance that's hindering. So be careful with that. If you start to see that in yourself or you see that in a friend, check them on it real quick, because they're not the only foreigner here, and they're definitely probably not the most attractive foreigner here. There's always going to be someone that outdoes everyone, right? So it's easy for foreigners to become a bit arrogant with all that attention, but truly integrating and having a meaningful connection, that means staying grounded, respectful, and remembering you're a person and not just a tourist with a long-time visa. So that's what I've been striving for, is to not to feel like a tourist with just a long-term visa. I want to feel like part of the community. I want to feel like I'm accepted, and I want to feel like I have a friends base here, and we're going to get into the friends bases here after a bit in this. But it's very important that you keep yourself grounded and you realize that you are not the only foreigner here. And although you might have everything you think that all these Filipinos want, remember they're individuals too, and they're not all looking for the exact same thing. So let's not be too arrogant about ourselves. Next up, let's talk about the lifestyle upgrade. Especially in 2026, it's huge for me to talk about. There's a new Digital Nomad Visa, or DNV, which launched in mid-2025, and that's a game changer. There's no more constant running around. There's no more headaches. You can actually apply for this. You can stay for up to 2 years, which gives you so much breathing room to actually settle, explore, and build a life without that constant looming deadline. That's very true, because in the Philippines, if you're here on a travel visa, there's some things that travel visa will hinder you with. One, it's really hard to get a bank account out here, and in order for you to have some of the things, some of the luxuries out here, you need a bank account, and it's pretty hard to get that. From what I'm reading, I'm not 100% turned up on this Digital Nomad Visa, but I believe the Digital Nomad Visa is essentially basically stating that, hey, I'm a resident for 2 years. So that's going to allow you to get a bank account, maybe even possibly loans. It just depends on that. But I'm pretty sure if you have a DNV, that they're not going to let you have a loan extending over 2 years. So I'll get back more with that. I'm starting to learn about it. I've actually talked to my attorney about transferring my visa over from tourist to Digital Nomad Visa. And once I do that, I'll give you guys more information on it. But this alone is going to reduce a lot of stress for foreigners that are here, especially on DNV. There's nothing worse than having to reapply for your visa every month. Now, there are instances when you can apply for a 6-month, but you have to write a letter of intent, and it can be an upfront cost. It can be kind of costly for some people, especially in my situation when you're on a fixed income. It can be a little bit more expensive that way. Here lately, I've been doing 2-month visa extensions where I just pay for 2 months in advance, and that's how I've been doing it. And I know you can do that after your second visa extension. So your first visa here is for 30 days is absolutely free, nothing, doesn't cost you anything. So if you're only coming to visit for a couple weeks, don't worry about visas. You're good. Your second, when your extension comes through, it's for 29 days. It's not a whole month. It's 29 days. Once that 29 day hits, then your next extension, you're going to pay for 2 months, and you're also going to apply for your ACR, alien. I forget. You know what? I knew it before I sat down because I beat it in my head, but now I forget. Your ACR card, which is basically saying that you are a resident. I know it means alien something residency. I can't. Some of you are going to check me in the comments. Please do. It's fine. And it's kind of a pain every month or every 2 months to go out and just renew your visa because you got to go to immigration, or you can hire an attorney, but you still have to do the same steps when you hire an attorney. You got to take your passport to an attorney. You got to pay your attorney, and it's an upcharge to have an attorney do it, right? Because they're not going to do it for free. But like I said, I've just learned about this visa a few days ago, and I am going to try to apply for it in the month of February. We're going to see. I might have to go ahead and extend my visa for 1 month in February, and then worry about it in March. But we'll see. Being single here in Cebu, and especially any foreign country, can be lonely. It can get lonely, and it can get lonely really fast, and that is the truth. So make sure you find your tribe. Make sure you find a peer group that you can get along with or share some of the same values. Listen, you're going to find people that you can hang out with and kick it with and have fun with, but they might not actually be your peer group. It might turn into really good friends and then kind of fade off because you start feeling differences to friends, but almost acquaintances. You're going to find that out here, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having, or even you might even have two peer groups. You might have one peer group that likes to do these things. You might have another peer group that likes to do another thing. But just make sure you find those peer groups, and they don't always have to be foreigners. There's a lot of Filipinos and Filipinas out here that want new friends too. The language barrier sometimes can be problematic, but it's not a horrible language barrier. You can still communicate. Sometimes it makes it fun. You get to teach them some of your slang. They're teaching you some of their language. It can be a lot of fun. So don't discredit having friendships with Filipino or Filipinas. Because in my experience, it's drastically changed. Depending on where I planted my flag, it drastically changed my experience here. My first couple weeks here, I didn't really have a lot of friends. And it was really boring, really lonely. I was calling home a lot, staying up really late at night so I could, because my time schedule is 12 hours difference. So if it was 12 p.m. here in the Philippines, it was 12 a.m. back home where I lived. Or 12 p.m. If it was 12 a.m. here, it was 12 p.m. So if I was staying up to midnight, I was calling home, talking to people. But if I wanted to talk to my friends that had a job, I had to wait till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning to call them because they were just getting off work. It was kind of tough. So if you're looking for a place where you want to forget that you're even in the Philippines or in a developing country, BGC, from what I hear, is one of those places. I've never been there. And it hasn't really appealed to me too much. Business Park and IT Park in Cebu, they're going to be your spots. It's walkable. It's filled with upscale bars. It has a high concentration of other single professionals, both expats and locals. You're going to find a lot more Western restaurants also in Business Park. You got a Texas Roadhouse. They got a TGI Fridays. They have a Chili's. They have KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. I can go on. There's a few more. Auntie Anne's in the mall. They're everywhere, right? So those are some examples of things that kind of make it feel like you're still in the United States. This guy's moped is extremely loud, almost like it doesn't even have an exhaust. Now, if you're looking for that bohemian lifestyle, the barefoot lifestyle, super easy to meet people at hostels and beach parties, then you're going to want to go to Siargao. That's kind of the surfing capital. And I have never been there either. I'm not much of a surfer. You know, I grew up in the Midwest. I didn't really grow up around the water. Didn't really grow up around oceans. Oceans really aren't my thing. Don't get me wrong. I like to go and visit oceans. I like to put my feet in the sand occasionally, but I'm not craving an ocean scene. But I do love the beauty of them. I do like the ambience of the waves crashing, the sunsets, the cool breeze coming off the water. But I don't need it every single day. So you're not going to catch me on a surfboard. Maybe you might, just to try it out, but it's probably not going to be anything that I'm like, oh man, I can't live without this. Probably not going to be me. Now I do like to fish, but I was a freshwater fisherman. So we'll see what happens when I get out in the ocean and try to fish a little bit, because I do want to try that. And then finally there's Dumaguete, known as the city of gentle people. It's massive retiree and expat community. It makes it great if you want a slower, more intellectual piece near the water. So I know I got some really good friends that live there. I'm gonna throw some plugs out there. If you guys are interested in my vlogs, check out Joe Go Wonder. If you're not already following him, some of you guys were following him, and that's how you found about me. He's a great dude. We became some pretty good friends. We talk quite often, and I enjoy having him, you know, in my community here, like just being able to someone to communicate with and talk to. He gives me some great advice. I try to give him the best advice I can give him if he has questions, which he don't really have a lot, but really solid dude. Exactly how you see him on camera is exactly how he is in person, and I try to be the exact same way. So if you guys aren't following him now, Joe Go Wonder. And then also I can't forget about Zach and Danica. Zach and Danica I have hung out with a couple times, and they became really good friends too. We talk quite a bit, you know, once or twice a week. And they're a great influence too. They try to help my page grow as much as possible. They try to give me advice on how to get it to grow. Yes, Danica, hence why I got rid of my AI. Thank you for that. That did help me out a lot, and I did learn some things about putting AI on your videos. They could affect your page negatively. I'm not going to get into that, guys. Like, if you want to learn about how to boost your YouTube channel or so on, there's plenty of pages out there. I'm not that guy, literally, but I did read some things, and I did watch some videos on removing some AI from your video and how it can help boost it. So now let's just get real. It isn't all sunsets and Red Horse beer. If you guys haven't had Red Horse beer, it's very popular out here. So San Miguel. They also, that one's really popular. They make some flavored beers too. I don't drink, as I've told many of you before, and if you're just now watching for the first time, I am a recovering alcoholic. I haven't drank in 11 years. You're not going to see me drinking Red Horse or San Miguel, so you're going to see me drinking Coke Zero or water. Maybe some pineapple juice that looks like a drink. Because if you go to the clubs drinking pineapple juice, the drunk people leave you alone. They think you're drinking drinks, so thank goodness. And all just isn't Red Horse beer. Being single here means that you navigate the frustrations of the Philippines solo, and there's definitely some grit moments. We're going to get into some of the grit moments, and I'm going to throw in some extras also, because I think it's very important that you guys learn about it. You know, the infrastructure here, the internet has improved significantly in 2026, thanks to Starlink and fiber optics. I actually have the fiber optics in my room, and it's phenomenal. You know, I'm running 500 megs of download and I think 300 plus upload speeds. And I need that for what I do. You know, as you guys know, you're watching my video. If I had awful internet, it would take me ages to upload these videos. But I am blessed that I actually have fiber optics out here. You know, but traffic in Cebu is still legendary. A 5K trip can take you anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes. I promise you guys, I know it doesn't make sense. A 5K trip, which is this many miles, can take you up to 30 to 90 minutes. Another thing that we want to talk about is the infrastructure out here that you need to get used to is the electrical. The electricals, it's not bad, but there's times that you're going to hit a brownout, or there's time, we call them blackouts in the United States, where you don't have any power. Strong winds, heavy rains can take care of that. But if you live in a less populated area, let's just say like Dumaguete, for instance, or if you live in some of the provinces, there's scheduled brownouts. I don't know 100% why. Joe or Zach and Danica could probably tell you more about what it's about, but I do know it's for maintenance, and I think it's to help with power consumption throughout the grid to kind of give the grid a break. But I want to let you know that there's that. Also, the water out of the sink is not drinkable here. So that's something that you need to get used to. If you feel like, sorry about that. If you feel like you need to drink the water out of the faucet, you're not going to do it here. So you do have to purchase. I have a 5-gallon container of water. It's just kind of like the Culligan waters, that you put on top of the water dispenser. I have a water dispenser in my condo. It's got hot water. It's got cold water. It's just a little inconvenient because you got to exchange it out, so on and so forth. But most of the condos have an agency that will pick up the water, refill it, bring it back. I pay 40 pesos, which is that much right there, for 5 gallons of drinking water. It's not that big of a deal. And another thing that we're going to talk about too is the bureaucracy. Even with the new visas, Filipino time is a real phenomenon. Patience over here just isn't a virtue, it's a survival skill. You will learn to embrace it or you'll go crazy. I promise you this is a real thing. This is real talk. This is something that you need to be very aware of. If you are a type of person that is timely, like I am because I came from the military, where I'm always early, don't expect that here. It's not going to happen. If you're a person that needs to walk fast through large crowds, get over it. It's not going to happen. I promise. They're not in much of a hurry to get anywhere, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to bundle all Filipino and Filipinas together because that's not necessarily true, because there are some Filipino and Filipinas out there that just move through crowd, or they're just walking at a pace, like a good pace. But for the most part, most of them, this is what you see as they're walking. They're walking really slow. They're not necessarily paying attention to their surroundings. And it can kind of cause a traffic jam. Listen, I'm not knocking them by any means because our society is turning to that very quickly. I'm not saying that we walk better or we get somewhere faster, because that's not necessarily true either. But if you are a fast walker and you are trying to get around, have some patience. Also, driving, as we talked about earlier, 30 to 90 minutes to travel 5K. It's a long time, and it's not very far. Now, granted, the cab ride only costs you $3, but it takes some time. Finally, the emotional complexity. You're going to encounter a significant wealth gap. Navigating relationships where your monthly fund budget might equal someone else's yearly salary requires a lot of emotional intelligence and clear boundaries. It's something that you have to be mindful of constantly. Listen, this is a very true statement. Just to give you an example, I know of a couple people that work here that are Filipina or Filipino, and they make roughly anywhere from 11 to 12,000 Filipino pesos a month, which is right around $186.57 a month. Okay, so now if we take that down, they're making right around 2,300 to 2,500 US dollars a year. Let that sink in. Next time you're on a phone call in a call center, you're calling Verizon or T-Mobile or Sprint or whoever, and you're getting a Filipina or a Filipino, be respectful. They're not making any money. My pension exceeds that. 1 month exceeds that, and that's their whole year pay. So that was an eye-opener for me. Now, my fund budget necessarily isn't higher than their yearly amount, but my monthly budget is higher than what they make in a whole entire year, and it's eye-opening. That's why things are so expensive out here, right? The cost of labor is significantly less, which is one of the highest overheads in the U.S. That's why stores and places cost so much, is because the overhead, and some of that, majority of that being salaries or wages. So here, their salary and wages are significantly less, so things don't cost nearly as much. But I just wanted to let you guys know that is big out here too, right? Like, there's several people that I know that make more money in 1 month than some people I know that make in a whole entire year, and it's crazy. You know, so there you have it. That's my unfiltered take on moving to the Philippines as a newly single person in 2025. Being 2026 now, and nothing's changed much since 2025 to 2026. It's been a journey of incredible highs and some definite challenges, but honestly, I really wouldn't trade this for anything. This hard reset was actually what I needed. So if you're considering on a mid move, a solo adventure, or just changing the scenery after a major life event like I had, I hope this gives you some insight. This is a country that's going to test you, charm you, and ultimately change you. This is real talk. I've only been here a little over 4 months, and I can promise you this country is going to charm you. These people are going to charm you. You're going to love being around a Filipino and Filipinas. You're going to love the views that you see. Looking out over, like right now where I'm sitting at, I wish you guys could see the backdrop. And I'm going to try to show it to you. Just the whole city, but being nighttime, you can't see it, but you can see the ocean from here. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful view. And then on the back side of the camera, there's mountains. So here, ocean, there, mountains. The only thing it's missing is desert and snow. And then you've seen it all. I promise, it's beautiful out here. So this place might be exactly what you need. Even if you come out here and take a reset for 30 days, I think you're going to find that you're going to love this country. But I do want to tell you that there are some tests, and that's going to be the cultural differences. There's going to be some things out there to test you. Food is going to be one of them. It's just going to be a whole different genre of food than you're used to, and it's definitely going to test you. Another one is going to be traffic is going to test you, especially in the larger cities such as Manila and Cebu. And language barrier is going to test you. Customer service is going to test you. There's several things that are going to test you. How fast people move and get places is going to test you. It's going to be a test. But remember, this is not your country. This is not your standard. Our standard's different. So keep that in mind and be respectful. I try to be as respectful as I can be. Sometimes things get me a little more than they should, and I have to step away for a second or regather or take some deep breaths. But I'm slowly starting to adapt to it. So what are your thoughts? Have you ever done a hard reset? Let me know in your comments below. If you have, I'd love to hear about it. And if it's something that you want to do and you feel like you need to ask me some questions, don't forget I do have a Facebook page. It is Tutors Travels. You guys can DM me directly on that page. I have an Instagram page also. I'm not super active on the Instagram page, but if you DM me, I will respond on there. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more adventures, and please hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything there. And thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys do for me. I appreciate all the shares, likes, subscribes. If you've already done that, I appreciate it. If you haven't, like I said before, please do it. And thank you all very much. Peace.